Welcome back, everybody. Harness racing action here at Woodbine Mohawk Park on a Saturday night. I believe we've got 11 races on tap this evening. Yesterday a solid card, Randy, as I bring in my co-host, the Hall of Famer. A solid card yesterday, as I mentioned, but this is the card that I was looking forward to the most. This is the card where I looked at it from top to bottom and said, you know what, there's a lot of value possibilities tonight. I'm not saying we're going to guess right on a lot of these races, but I do think there's some shots that you can take tonight. So I'm a bit intrigued by tonight's card.
Yeah, that's like last night to me, favorites were beatable, which they were. But the problem was that trying to find the long shots to do it. I think this is more formful, but again, the favorites are beatable.
Yeah.
And that's where like I said, I think that this is a better card than last night, because last night's to me was just a Rubik's Cube without the colors. It was just a little too crazy, you know what I mean, to try to find the right ones. But I think tonight, if you did your work there, I think that you can come up with some pretty nice ones and not have to use one of the favorites.
Do your work and get a little bit creative, too. I think
right.
there's some signs there indicating that some horses could be sitting on some big efforts, which you and I will probably highlight as the pre-show goes on. It's Saturday. Again, we've got a couple more nights of racing coming up, but what we also have coming up is some awards. The O'Brien Awards are coming up next month. The Dan Patch Awards are coming up in a couple of months as well, Randy. And obviously something we're looking forward to. Ballots have been sent out for the Dan Patch as well as the O'Brien Awards. And speaking of the Dan Patch, though, Randy, I mean, we are going to get a chance to vote in for the United States Hall of Fame ballot. Living Horse Hall of Fame ballots have been sent out, and you can see 7 horses, I believe, on it, 7 or 8 of them, but one of them being somebody that you're very familiar with, the one highlighted in yellow, Sandpail, and one that obviously means you become synonymous with. I mean, simply put, you guys have become synonymous with one another, but this is a really, really nice group, but a really nice honor for Sandpail, and hopefully he can get in.
Yeah, one time, that's the picture there. I wanted to get that picture tattooed on me.
Really?
I love that picture of him, because it's just, to me, it personifies who he is. So, yeah, it's, the awards just keep coming for him, but he was a special kind of a horse. I was really, really lucky to get to drive him, and he's a horse that I'll always remember. But boy, that is a tough list right there.
Group. I mean, just Pure Country Nuncio, Mr. Big Manchego, Better's Wish. I mean, just from top to bottom, just a really, really deep list. But we all know who's got your heart, and that's Sandpail.
Yeah.
And I just want to relive one of your biggest thrills sitting behind him. Look, he's had a lot of great races. And I got a chance to ask you yesterday, which one was your favorite race? And I believe you said, was it this one, the Maple Leaf Trot that he won, or did you think it was his best performance?
I think he was at his best in this race, but I mean, my big one would be the Breeders' Crown at Woodbine, when the crowd just went crazy.
Was that when the European horses chipped in?
Yeah, that was the only year he raced in the Breeders' Crown.
I think
he won it.
Is that the night where you didn't you cut the mile the entire way, right? You didn't let them. You made that move early to the front. I think. Listen, you don't want to play results, but that was the winning move from what I saw, because some of those other horses, they raced huge, and I think if they touched down on the lead, as good as Sandpail was.
Yeah.
I think the drive obviously won the race that particular night. But let's take a look at what year is this for the Maple Leaf Trot?
This is 2011.
2011. Let's look at your victory here in the Maple Leaf Trot. And this was during a stretch where he won 3 consecutive, and something you highlighted, Randy, he wasn't favored in any of those victories.
No, but watch this there. I mean, this is the best group of trotters in North America. You've seen enough Maple Leaf Trots, and I mean, the horse that's on his back is the favorite, the horse that I wasn't supposed to be able to beat. That's Lucky Jim, I think it is. And this is, and the Kenny's Call is beautiful.
You know what? I'm recalling a moment, but I can't remember if it was this year or another year. But I remember obviously working on a trot piece where you were talking about the experience, or talking about the chatter where somebody said in the paddock, was it from the U.S. saying,
he's nothing but a hometown hero.
Exactly. I don't know if that was this year when he said it, or was it another year?
No, that was the first year.
That must have
That
must have fired you right up when you heard
crazy.
that. Yeah.
I went right over and said something to him, and I drove the horse like an idiot in the elimination. And he got beat by Lucky Jim, and Lucky Jim was supposed to beat him anyway, and it just didn't help that I drove him like a complete moron. And when I came in the paddock later, I felt horrible anyway, because I got the horse beat. And then I got to hear some guy standing underneath the TV screaming over, he's nothing but a hometown hero. And I walked over and told him, I said, how can you blame that horse for as bad as I drove him? And he still finished second in there. And you be here next week and then tell me he's a hometown hero. And well, guess what?
Yep.
Maybe he was a hometown hero, but he won, and then he won again, and then he won again, 3 years in a row.
And did that attitude, though, sometimes when people got under your skin, or maybe you wanted to prove somebody wrong? you didn't feel like, did you not feel like that helped your driving at times too, to want to kind of just
anytime that I got mad or lost my temper, it always helped my driving.
Really?
Always. Yes, that was the big key to my driving, is if I got mad, then everything I would concentrate and focus on really, really hard. And then somebody did a story on me the one time, and they said it's amazing in my career where I won most of my races on the back half of the program. Now, why would that be? Because probably somebody irked me earlier on in the night, and then they just started to win for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember when you shared that anecdote with me about, for that trot piece, when you shared that anecdote with me, I think it was a year and a half ago, about that Sandpail story, when the guy said that, when that individual said that to you in the paddock. And I mean, just a big time performance the week after. And look, he showed everybody that he was a top dog in North America in his division. And he proved it beyond just that 1 year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Never seen the guy after that, though.
All right. Well, best of luck to Sandpail. We're rooting for him.
Yes, I am, for sure.
Love to see him get in as well. Definitely has a resume that warrants it, but as do the rest of the horses.
Oh, absolutely.
On that ballot
yeah.
as well.
And there's no losers in that group.
No, and speaking of being warranted for some divisional honors, we're going to start previewing O'Brien Award divisional battles here. Each and every card we'll get a chance to preview one division in particular tonight, though, Randy. And obviously more than 5 names on the ballot, but we're just going to highlight the top 5 money earners on Canadian soil. Again,
and all dollar amounts are in Canadian.
Yes, so
makes it easier.
Strobe Light number 1 here, the top money earner on Canadian soil. Obviously, all of his starts came here in Canada. Ardon, just 3 starts on Canadian soil, and he ends up finishing second in earnings. And you could see another great mass touched by an angel and crunched in the odds. And look, I think those top 2 money earners, 3 finalists this year, Randy. They upped it to 3 finalists. Usually it's 2, so 3 of them are going to be finalists there in late January. But I think Strobe Light and Ardon, to me, I mean, they really stand out. A really nice group that we had here provincially, but I think those 2 really stand out. Strobe Light, obviously, 11 starts this year, 3 trips to the winner's circle. He capped off his campaign with a super final score. I believe we're going to show that highlight momentarily as well. Really cool to see a Son of Alarm Detector, especially a relatively cheap yearling purchase, I believe $16,000, have the success for Ben Béargent, because a nice little colt, and he's done some pretty good things this year, and I think he's going to be able to build on his rookie campaign next year.
Wasn't Alarm Detector the one when I interviewed Benoit, and I said, how's your, this is like a year or 2 ago, and I said, how do you like the alarm detectors? And he looked at me and he said, they show up.
Yep.
Well, they show up. They're starting to show up in a big way.
And he definitely showed up. And we saw the ability there, when Tyler Bort got a chance to sit behind him in the first half of his season. Obviously, he had to lose the drive because he had one of his own in one of those golds, I think, at Grand River. James picked up the steer, and, James got along with him well, guided him to some big-time victories as well. But Tyler Bort also guided him to a third-place victory, I believe, in the William Wellwood Memorial from an outside draw at big odds. So he put forth a pretty good showing there. So he's definitely one that who's gonna be a big time player as well, and we're gonna get a chance to see his super final victory right now. Just a picture perfect steer from James, and we know the talent was there, and he was able to get the job done. But just a colt who I thought got better as the season progressed.
Yeah, I mean the thing that I kind of wonder about him too is, like, he's a big colt. And I mean, I'm not saying height-wise. I'm saying he's a big, thick colt, And I wonder to myself, like, is he going to keep growing the way that he does? Because when he's done growing, this thing's going to be a tank. He's going to be like the trotting version of Wheels on Fire. And I mean, right there, like, just look at the difference in the body size between these 2 horses. This guy is just an absolute stud. So Strobe Light, unbelievable year, unbelievable season for him. Not surprised at all coming out of Ben Béargent's barn. But I think you still got to give the Megan Scran horse a really, really close look too.
Big time. And you know what? Obviously, what makes you eligible to be a finalist or nominee in the O'Brien Awards, you have to have minimum 3 starts here on Canadian soil. When we do play host of the Breeders' Crown, that's excluded. So there has been some horses that have had more than 3 starts on Canadian soil, but the Breeders' Crown eliminations in the final, they don't start. So Ardon, he had 3 starts here this year. He had obviously his William Wellwood elimination victory, his William Wellwood final victory, as well as a try in the Mohawk Million. I believe he was 5th in that outing. So, again, we see him second in earnings. Despite 3 starts here on Canadian soil, that makes him eligible. He still put forth a really, really nice campaign, though, Randy. And it depends how you want to dissect it. I think Strobe Light definitely one that merits a lot of respect, without a doubt. Ardon, though, as well. Again, just the 3 starts, 2 victories, one of which was a Grade 1 victory. Again, graded stakes just got integrated this year. The lone eligible to have a Grade 1 victory in that 2-year-old trotting colt division. It's tied a track record in the William Wellwood Memorial to Maryland. And if you want to look at head-to-head matchups between Stroblade and Ardon, Ardon got the best of him in both matchups, right? Winning that William Wellwood Memorial as well as finishing ahead of him in that Mohawk Million. So, listen, both colts have some really strong resumes. I'm sure it would mean a lot too, and be pretty cool for Megan Scran to have a colt that she trains be a O'Brien Award finalist as well.
Yeah. Okay. Now give me the scoop on the Canadian clause of who did the most for Canadian racing.
That's true.
There you go. That's the stinker.
That holds a lot of weight, right?
That's a tough clause. You know what I mean? Because I think that one of them's Canadian bred, Canadian owned, Canadian trained, Canadian driven. That's a lot of Canada. The other one there, Scotty Canadian driving them. At some point, probably Megan Scran going to be a Xeron, maybe, so be half Canadian in there. And then the other is the fact that he did his biggest winning on Canadian soil. So did that help Canadian racing? I don't know. I mean, the biggest trotting race that we have in the country is the Wellwood. That's here every year. I mean, so we got the Breeders' Crown this year, but
the Mohawk Million was integrated recently.
Right, true, but the Wellwood, to me, is the first one that, gets you there, because that was the stepping stone to get into the the Mohawk Million's great, but a lot of times you're paying your way in. You know what I mean? The Wellwood, you're just winning it on the same as everybody else. So I don't know. I mean, that's a tough clause, that one.
You know what? It's going to be tough. And again, as you point out, the impact of Canadian racing, I think there's been times in the past where you look at some of the winners and look at some of the finalists. Sometimes the best horses haven't always won by virtue of that, right? There's been times where maybe some horses have better resumes, but again, your impact to Canadian racing. Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing.
You working there, is that the number one criteria?
It's a big one. Yeah, definitely a big one. Yeah. Again, we'll see these two colts definitely have great resumes. Again, not much separating them in earnings. One has 3 starts on Canadian soil, the other one having 11 starts. And speaking of Ardon's victory in the William Wellwood Memorial, we mentioned again the lone Grade 1 winner out of all those eligibles.
Is this colt?
Again, we integrated graded stakes this year for the first time in North America, and this was a Grade 1 victory for Ardon, a big win. Again, tying a track record to Maryland, and we know the career that Maryland had. Wasn't able to pick up a victory during a sophomore campaign, but his efforts were strong. And speaking of strong, how sharp was this effort by Scott Zion and Megan Scran's colt?
Unbelievable. He was so much the best of this bunch here. But the other thing is the Xeron too, Scotty. And, he hardly ever shows emotion, but watch this. Right there, and then after the wire, he'll tap the side of the bike with his whip. Like, he was so excited. Right there. He's just so excited, with the horse and that. And gorgeous individual. Amazing job done by Scotty and Megan, And, it's funny because you hear so much talk about Annie Stobie with the trotting and so forth, but you don't hear as much about Megan. And, I mean, come on. She hasn't trained many trotters. And look at what she's got here. That this is a horse that could easily become a Hambletonian winner.
And one of them that doesn't get much pub, I know was talked about a little bit, was Tactical Mountains, one that she trained who had a really nice career, one that I know meant a lot to her as well. But, again, I know Annie's obviously trained a couple of big-time trotting fillies, obviously Instagram model coming to mind, Elisa Hanover as well, Diabolic Hill, now this trotting colt that we have plenty to look forward to for next year. But again, you mentioned Megan Scran. I got a chance to sit with her here in studio during the our Grand Circuit season. And, she's got plenty to look forward to with Ardon, and she's got plenty to look forward to with some of those other babies. I know she's in Florida, breaking them. She's got a bigger workload this year, but I think that's what's going to happen when you start having a little bit of success. The phone starts ringing. People want to start giving you horses to train, and it's well-deserved.
Something tells me that work doesn't bother her.
No.
Yeah,
I don't think so. Not one bit.
That would be my impression anyway. The work doesn't bother her in the least.
It's going to be really tight between those two, though. I don't think there's a wrong choice.
Nope, I don't either.
Really, really. But I honestly think both, to me at least,
could be one of the toughest divisions.
I think both are locks to be finalists.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'll say. I really do. I think that both their resumes stand out in a big, big way to be finalists. But a really nice group. Again, we never mentioned Touched by an Angel. We never mentioned Another Great Mass. 2 horses that I think had strong provincial campaigns. I think a couple of them got a little bit stronger as the year progressed. I think some of them were a little bit stronger earlier on, right? But I think those 2 are going to come back and be sharp as provincial 3-year-olds next year. So that's the division that we decided to highlight here today to kick things off. 2-year-old trotting colts. We're going to preview a couple more divisions. Great. Tomorrow. I think it's just good to that's for the conversation. Just get a look at some of the maybe top contenders, at least the top money earners in the division. And best of luck to everybody as well. I mean, anytime you get a chance who is worthy of a nomination, worthy of being a finalist, it's a big, big deal. You know what I mean?
Do you think all voters dissect it as hardly as you and I do?
I really hope they do.
I do
Listen,
too, because it's so important.
When you realize how much this means to people, and again, I didn't realize until I started working in the industry, I really hope people take the voting seriously.
Yeah.
I really do, because this means a lot to a lot of people, and I think that you want to try and make as educated a vote as possible. Just don't rush it. Take the time, because again, put yourself in their shoes if this was your, horse.
And sometimes, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah,
so you really have to take it serious.
Absolutely. Yep. All right. There's a preview of the 2-year-old trotting colt. Best of luck to all the nominees. Finalists will be announced, I believe, in a week or two. All right. Let's dig into the action, Randy. That was some fun chatting, some sandpail, reliving the past there, previewing what took place over this year with some of those rookie trotting colts. But it's time to dig into tonight's action. We're going to kick things off here in race number 2. We're going to be scratched down to a field of 7. Nice group here of fillies and mares going postward here in leg 2 of this early pick 5.
Are we riding together?
You and I are riding together here, because I'm going all in on this 3-year-old daughter of Big Jim, one that's going to be starting from the outside, TJ Bliss. I really liked her third, I should say, pari-mutuel start for Carmen Asiello. The first time we got a chance to see her on the big track. Randy, I thought that was a really good effort.
I thought she was locked and loaded in the last one at the odds of 24 to 1. We're not going to get 20. She's 10 to 1 morning line. We're not going to get that either. I don't think so. And showing this replay, isn't going to elevate her price either. But let's take a look at TJ Bliss, because she's also going to be my top pick in this race. So you can see James right now sitting 4th on the inside with this daughter of Big Jim. She had the rail, got away, not too bad of a spot, getting away 4th there. There wasn't a whole lot of action, but at this point you can just tell by James's body language that she does have some go. And, this is going to be her first try on the big oval. So they picked up the right pilot for the first time on this big oval, because she's going to come out of this race feeling pretty good about herself. At no point is it look like she's a tired horse. Now, he really starts to stoke her up right here, and watch what she does with it. She goes forward, and in a big way, too. So I thought it was a really, really nice effort in there. She does draw the 8-hole in an 8-horse field, but with the scratch of the 3-horse, she now has the 7-hole in a 7-horse field, and she does show a little gate speed at Flamborough, so I think James has options.
That's the biggest thing for me. I worried about the post, especially with some of the horses who were inside, because I think Waya's Flower number 10, she's a little bit of a hot mare.
Yeah.
And I think that she's going to be pushing out of there. I don't think some of those guys sitting behind her really have a choice, because once she gets to the gate, she wants to go. And then I saw what she's done from outside draws at Flamborough, like you mentioned. The fact that she shows gate speed from the outside, I don't think it should be an issue, but again, if 6 horses are leaving out of there, I don't think James is going to be 4 or 5 wide, trying to make front in that spot per se. Biggest thing was when she angled out and was shown clear racetrack, what did she do with it? She moved forward with some conviction. So
yeah, and especially right at the end of the mile.
Obviously, a Lady Freight, one that I think merits a lot of respect in here. You could argue she probably should have got the job done last time out. I didn't back her in that spot, but one that I did use in my early pick 5, I thought was just okay. Again, made a couple of moves, floated out of there for the first time in quite some time, but I just expected her to maybe show a little bit more life on the end of it, because we know she's got that speed, but she's still not steering straight.
I mean, we're getting a Murphy blind added tonight by Doug High on the inside, so that means that she's on the right line, probably heading down in. And it's hard sometimes to get make the good ground when they're on a line like that. So maybe this Murphy blind will help her a little bit in there.
I bet you a kiss. I thought that was a solid effort. You know what? Who are you? Not the biggest of win candidates. She's 1 win in 20 starts this year. A sneaky good effort last time out, I thought. I just don't know if she's ready to pop up with a winning effort tonight per se. I highly doubt it, in my opinion, but I thought that was a solid effort, and I bet you a kiss. Did you rank those 2 underneath as well?
I did, yeah. I bet you a kiss in for second, and then who are you in for 4th? Is there a better, and I'm not sure if I'm not going to say that he bought this one, but I'm just saying that I see this a lot. This Who Are You is a $7,500 Lexington yearling. Now, maybe Felix Marion bought him. I'm not sure. But what I'm saying, have you ever seen a trainer show up with more reasonably priced babies that end up being moneymakers than Walter Whalen? Yep. It's just a constant thing with this guy. It happens. You keep track of it. It's amazing. I don't think I've ever seen him very rarely with one above $10,000, and yet he's able to turn these horses into really, really nice horses.
She's showing some life on the end of her miles.
She is.
One of those days it's going to result in a winning effort. I just don't know if tonight's going to be the night. So Randy and I both going the direction of TJ Bliss. We're hoping to get rewarded there in race number 2. We're going to move on to race number 4. That's going to kick off the pick 6 sequence. We've got a field of 10 going postward here. Barbadian Breeze, one that I really liked last time out as a rebound player. like the fact that he added Lasix. I backed him on November 9th, and the effort just it wasn't sharp whatsoever. Once I saw the L pop up, I just figured something must have gone amiss, maybe some bleeding. He ended up bouncing back in a big way. Yes, he got things his own way, but I thought he was sharp on the end of his mile. I'm going to go right back to him. But you think that he's susceptible to getting beat tonight, so I'm curious to know who's going to be your top selection in this spot.
I am going to go to Sunset Lou.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the breather trainee in here for Trevor Henry. Now, what I like about him, and we're going to show you the replay of the last start, and there was a couple of moves made in there, and that's kind of what I like about him. So he races November the 2nd and then comes back on the 29th, 27 days in between, you know, well over 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks, you know. So I think that he really needed this start, but yet he goes into the start, he's got this 2-hole, gets away third, but into a fairly strong quarter, holds his ground, comes out around the last turn, and really only loses like a quarter of a length. And I thought that that was for a horse that had been off that long. That was a good effort. And where I'm going with that is before he had that time off, he had 2 straight seconds before that, and I think he was trending in to having a win. And then, like I said, he kind of disappeared. So let's take a look at the last race of Sunset Lou on November the 29th. And he's going to come a last quarter in 27.4. He's going to end up finishing 5th. And we're also going to get a chance to look at the horse that you like, Barbarian Breeze, who is up on Barbadian Breeze, who is up on top right now. And again, Sunset Lou, Trevor Henry, already on the outside with him, moved him first over, you know, after all that time off, and he hangs tough. And look at the body language on Trevor. He's not exactly going, you know, ballistically ape on this horse. Like, he's letting him do this on his own. He gives him a couple little taps to keep him interested, but the horse is starting to tire. I expected that, but he's got good gate speed, and I think he can land right on Barbadian Breeze's back. And if he does land on Barbadian Breeze's back, I think that he can put on a lot better show, or at least give a little bit of a scare to him anyway.
You mentioned something that's obviously valuable, is the fact that he came into that start having missed 3 weeks, so likely needed that tightener. You know, I backed him in a couple of efforts prior, and I thought, you know, he probably should have been sitting on winning efforts. Again, it's early in his career. I just haven't seen that desire for him to kind of want to get there comfortably just yet. But I'm expecting a solid effort from him. But I think Barbadian Breeze, with that confidence booster under his belt last time out, I'm ready to back him yet again to pick up a win number 2.
Usually second start Lasix are stronger.
Going to be stronger. So I'm expecting him to be a bit stronger here in this spot. But you have to figure that Sunset Lou, given that he's going to be back on a regular rotation, he has to be stronger here. I'm intrigued with Chef, though. Garnett's going to go with him as a spot play here in this spot. I really did think it was a solid effort. We're going to see some equipment changes tonight. I think this is one that can definitely improve. Like I said, I went all in on Barbadian Breeze, but I think this is a horse definitely that, you know, can pick up a bigger piece tonight.
Where did you have him?
I have him in for 2nd.
Okay, so I didn't use him.
Okay.
Did you use the 10 horse?
I did. I think for underneath for 4th.
Yeah,
I
I threw him in for 3rd. Boy, oh boy, this horse is racing great for Austin McEnany right now. Unfortunately, he has to draw that outside post, but the last time he had the outside post, Trevor left a bit with him, still ended up finishing 3rd. But last week, my oh goodness, did he ever have big wheels on the end of it?
And how about that replay? I know we're not going to highlight that race, but Bay John Firefly. Really good effort there, finishing up in his career debut in amongst them last time out. We're going to move on to race number 5. That's going to close out this early pick 5. Really competitive race, I think, to close out this early pick 5 sequence, Randy. Look, simply put, Caviar Crackers, are you in or are you out? Because for me, we know that she's the best. Appearance-wise, I can't say that she looked all that appealing to me last time out, and I think the effort kind of, you know, followed with that, because that's not the Caviar and Crackers we know. Just kind of what we saw visually and what we saw from her just, you know, during that race last time out.
Yeah, but the problem is, though, is now she's taken another drop.
Yeah.
Now she's down at the non-winners of 6,000. Now she's getting a shoeing change as boot. See, I didn't like her. I myself didn't really like her that good, like the presentation-wise. She'd had some time off. She came out after a month off and raced. And I just thought she looked kind of like average, you know what I mean? Not her usual kind of,
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Peppy kind of self, you know? So now, though, it looks like they were racing her with a set of flops on. Those are coming off. Ashley's going to go to a set of aluminums up front, take the flip-flops off. I got her still in for 2nd. I mean, she's the horse to beat. There's no doubt about that. But where I'm going to go, and the replay that we're going to show you, is a horse that actually, you know, I kind of like rode her off there for a bit. Talk about ebbs and lows and ups and downs, right? You know, so Miss Quicksand. boy, talk about a horse that really, really has found great form in the second half of the season. So let's take a look at the replay on Miss Quicksand. I got her down. You know, she had the 9-hole, a big move out of there. Every time she draws the inside, she gets away in a bad spot. Every time she draws the outside, she's able to get out of there and get herself into a good spot. As the 9-hole to work with in here again, I'm just hoping that Trevor is able to do the same kind of a job that he did the last time that he drove her when she had the 10-hole, and he was able to get her out of there in 27 flat. So here we go, J.R. Plant right on the end of the mile, and she is not going to be able to get the job done. She's got it all up in front. A horse that normally in these classes you can't beat her, but look at the scare that they put into her. She is just going to keep coming, and then on the run out, she's got her. So I'm going to go Miss Quicksand in here, Caviar and Crackers in for second. If she's on her game, I can't beat her. But if she's not on her game, maybe I can beat her.
I didn't even use her in my top 4, but I know that could be a big mistake, and the drop definitely I think is going to be favorable to her. But I mean, drop or not, and maybe she needed that start because again, she had missed over a month going into that outing. You're going to need to do for me, I want to see one tonight before I maybe factor in back as the mare to beat potentially. But I just decided to leave her off. And, it could burn me without a doubt. I like the 4 that I have in here. Coco Jojo, I thought raced really well last time out. I know she's capable of putting forth good efforts, but she's been inconsistent. But she was covered up for a long time, got out late, and she showed some good pace on the end of it. We know she's got the speed. What do we do with Century Jamila? What do we do with Western Wish, who, again, a horse, can leave sit and be a little bit of an upset player? And I think Blinded by Delight, I think that this mare's been really, really sharp. She draws a little bit better tonight. Maybe she's involved. A lot of question marks in this race, though, Randy. That's what makes it tricky.
Yeah, you know what's really, really interesting is, so a horse like Coco Jojo, right? Pelling to open bridle. Like that is completely 180.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like that is about a severe change, because Pelling is really basically there to keep them quiet and not see anything and just kind of like keep them chill, And then you go right to an open bridle where she's going to see everything. So this is a really, really interesting change, especially with the rail too. Interesting that Beaton sent this one in.
Yeah, again, some mares that we know in this field that are capable of some big efforts. I just don't know which one's going to show up. Again, like I said with Century Jamila, we know at one point, wasn't she the mare to beat in the Fillies and Mares Open?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then obviously she tailed off.
Ebbs
I didn't love
downs.
the qualifier on November 21st. Didn't love the effort last time out, but again, she might have needed a couple of tighteners. She might be ready to go tonight. I guess we'll wait and see race number 5. A competitive way to kick off that early pick 5. We're going to move on to race number 8 here this evening, and that's going to be a field of 8 here in this pacing event. And we've got a couple of heavy hitters in here, Randy. We've got some horses, dropping down in class. We've got some horses that are going to come back off some sharp efforts as well. Morning line favorite's going to be Blue Hunt here in this spot, coming off a sharp victory. I don't know if he's going to go off as the favorite. I think he's a horse definitely sharp enough. If he makes front, he could be tough to catch. I just don't know if he's going to be able to make front easily, because we've got Arbitrage Hanover dropping out of the open. We've got Power Train dropping out of the open. For me personally, I see it as a race that's going to be decided by those two.
I agree.
Okay.
That's where
Where
those
did
are
you
your
go?
top 2.
Yeah.
Me too. I go Arbitrage.
Okay, I went Power Train.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I don't think that this is a bad either way, and I got a feeling that you're going to get paid way better with Powertrain than I'm going to get paid with Arbitrage. I got a feeling there's going to be more people like Arbitrage Hanover, but I'm in the same agreement with you. Like, this was a tough call.
And we're going to see his effort, I believe, last time out for Arbitrage Hanover. And we mentioned this time and time again. Billy's done such a great job getting this guy back into some good form, as well as Kyle Fellows and company, because he was a horse that raced some 3-year-olds last year that I think were in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Didn't take on any of the tough horses in his division, wasn't paid into some of those marquee stakes event. Again, a horse that was owned by Pelling as well as trained by him, did a great job managing him. And then you become a 4-year-old and you start partaking in some of those graduate series. And the competition gets tough because you take on the likes of the Nijinsky's, the Captain Albanos. I think that group to start off his 4-year-old campaign was just a little bit too rich for him. Then he tried the Gold Cup and Saucer. I think he needed some time to kind of get himself freshened up again. And I think Billy and Kyle have done a great job finding his confidence again, because it doesn't matter if he's moving up or moving down. His efforts have been consistent week in and week out.
100%. Yeah, that's a good way to put it there. We are going to see the replay. And the sire of Arbitrage, Better's Wish, was on that list that we saw with Sandpail. Arbitrage, my thing is with him is he's been racing pretty well every week. I know what I'm getting.
Yep.
Power Train, even though he brings power, and he's well named. He's the size of a train and he brings power. He's only had a couple of starts back, you know what I mean, or one start back, but he did have a couple of qualifiers that he back in October, and then the couple of starts in November. I just don't know if I'm going to look at him as being right on his game. He might be, because Gallucci fools me lots of times, but I don't know. I'm going to take a guess that Arbitrage, who I'm seeing race every week, and I look at them as close to being the same kind of a caliber. You know what I mean? I think there's more overall power with Powertrain. In other words, I think he can do whatever he wants out there. You know, if he wants to go to the front and chop a mile out, he can do that. Arbitrage can do the same thing, but not quite with the same amount of power. But I find that he's a little trickier from off the pace than what we normally see with Powertrain. So Arbitrage Hanover is the way I'm going to go. Let's take a look at this replay of his last start in the Open. You know, no match for Taurasi. Remember the Alamo or Brew Hanover, but it was easily the best of the rest. And you're going to see that because he's going to have good wheels. He's not going to be able to overtake those other three, but he is going to move away from the ones behind him. I think he was much like fourth best in this race. He paces the last quarter in 26 flat, overall mile of 150. And like I said, when you look at him, he's really of the rest of them, he's really the only horse that keeps moving forward, and he's going to drop from this open class down into the non-winners of 15. I think he's getting himself set up in the middle of the gate with a big effort.
We could be looking at a speed show like we saw 2 starts back, right? And again, Arbitrage Hanover, really good effort there in the Open. You mentioned something about Powertrain that Gallucci has kind of fooled you on several occasions. With this horse in particular, he's fooled me plenty of times.
Many times.
Sometimes you think that, I don't know how he's going to fare from a fitness standpoint, and then he comes in with a pretty good effort. You don't have to worry about fitness with Nick. He's going to have them coming into this into the races sharp. Now, the biggest thing with Powertrain last time out, you're making your first start back in quite some time. You had a couple of qualifiers, but then you were scratch sick on November 15th. So to me, the November 29th effort was, okay, probably likely need this tighten. I don't know how fit he's going to be off that 6th scratch. Now I feel like he's ready for a bigger effort here, but you could see it's split between everybody. 3 and 6 are the way everybody's going to go. So I look at it as a 2-horse affair, and I think the odds board is going to definitely reflect that as well. That's going to be race number 8. We're going to move on to, did you want to add one more thing?
One quickly thing. With Powertrain there, I find his best races are in front. With the time off, do I think that Louis is going to be looking to chooch this horse tonight? No, I don't. Nope. That's kind of why I went against him, too.
Okay, I agree with you. I think Billy could definitely want to make front, especially how sharp he was 2 starts back on the engine.
Sometimes if your best competition is on your back, that's the best way to beat him.
All right, there's our thoughts on race number 8. We're going to move on to race number 11. That's going to close out this Saturday night program. We've got a field of 10 here in this spot. A lot of sharp horses competing in the finale, but there's one in particular that you and I loved last time out, and he delivered as the favorite, but it was a sharp victory, and that's the 3-horse Axial. He's the morning line favorite at 2-1. No Doug McNair, but we're going to pick up Louis Philippe Bois, and I just see no reason why this guy can't come right back with a winning performance.
It's the strength that he's doing in his miles, right? I mean, very lightly raced, especially considering, he's going in against horses that have been showing good ability, like it's say RB Tenacious T that has 16 starts, Lions Dookie, 14 starts, National Tier, 17 starts, Axial, 6 starts, but it's the way that he's doing it. And he's a Captain Treacherous out of a Better's Delight mare, out of the Windsong Magnifique, a horse that I actually drove a few times and I absolutely loved her. Big, powerful horse. So Axial, interesting kind of a horse. Let's take a look at this last replay. He's going to be my all-in bet tonight simply because even though he is going to, move what I would consider to be the slightest movement up in class, it's the way that he did this. And this is going to be, Lions Dookie's back in against him here with the rail. Doc's Ernest back in against him. And to me, he just overpowered them. And the thing that kind of got me as well, Plugs In. To me, there was more in there. And at no point, look at Dougie. At no point does he ask this horse in any way whatsoever. And the ears on him are still, he's listening for Doug, then he's watching what's ahead of him. He's just, everything about him to me was just absolute poetry in motion. So Axial, the way that I'm going to go. But I have a feeling you went somewhere else.
No, I went Axial as well. It's just tough for me to play against him. I think he's had a couple of starts leading up to that victory where he didn't do much work.
Sweep.
Loaded with pace. Tough to go against him. Again, Doc's Ernest, though, he's been razor sharp. I mean, just a great job since Kayla Henry has taken over this son of American Ideal in her barn. And again, I think that Lions Dookie definitely one who was in contention last time out. I think is definitely going to be a major player.
Picking up James.
There. So yeah, exactly. One that I mean, he's picked him up. I believe. I think he's driven him in the past as well. I believe. But okay, there's a look at the finale there, and we can see that jackpot high five carryover climbing over 6 figures now, Randy.
Yeah, well, I don't think he drove him in the past. I believe that. How you like that? How you like them apples?
All right, so I hope you're right. It'd be nice. I'm sure I'm going to get a couple of text messages about saying, yeah, you didn't do your homework, John. Maybe you did, and you snuck one up on me right now. So I think he did, but who knows?
Who knows?
Memory, my memory sometimes. There's just too much in this brain. All right, we're going to look at some early pick 5 ticket ideas, and you and I both having the same single in race number 2, but let's talk about some of those other legs.
Okay, so race number 2, yeah, TJ Bliss. We both like that one. Obviously, race number 3's given me a lot of spits in there. So you could have went so many different ways in there. So I used all 4 of my picks in this race. I used Shane's Dream, who I kind of thought that maybe he was a little bit out of position in his last start. Steamboat Springs, to me, getting real close to a win for Maneri. Hal Mac Victor's going to be my top selection in here. First start, Justin Turcotte and JR. And then early action right now, I mean, it would have been easy to throw the 9 horse off of my ticket, but I can't do that. Not with the way that he's racing right now. Going back into the Osceola barn, who already had a win with him. Putty had him last week. Multiple moves. He was a winner. Now he comes back into Osceola's barn again. He's a horse that is on perfect form right now.
All right. That last leg is going to be tricky, I think, for all of us. So if Caviar and Cracker shows up, he's definitely going to be she's going to be tough to beat. I just don't know what version we're going to get tonight. So much so that I elected to leave her in that last leg. Deep in the opening leg, deep in the last leg, and a couple of singles in between. I feel pretty good about my 2 in race number 3. Steamboat Springs and early action. Huge effort by early action last time out. Barbadian Breeze is going to be a single, and you and I in agreement there with TJ Bliss. So there's the way I see it, and we got a chance to see your ticket, Randy, as well. Let's look at some our plays here tonight. I'm curious to see what your 4-pack is going to be. I have a feeling I know what a couple of them might be, but let's start off with yours here to kick things off.
Okay, race number 2 is going to be Waples Watch, TJ Bliss. We both like that one. Then in race number 4, Beat the Favorite, it's going to be Sunset Lou. We showed you that replay on him. Had some 4 weeks off before that last race. And race number 5, Worth a Look, Miss Quicksand from the outside. Again, I'm in agreement with John. You know, if Caviar and Crackers shows up, it's going to be a tough race to win. But if she doesn't show up, I like the way that mine's coming into this one. And all in is going to be the 11th race. You're going to stick around. That's going to be Axial.
All right, there's your 4-pack. I'm in agreement with you on TJ Bliss. She's going to be one of my plays of the night. My Worth a Look's going to be in the opener, Odds on Bra Mastra, one that I think has been taking on tougher in Indiana. I'm curious to see what kind of effort we're going to see from him here tonight. TJ
Just
Bliss,
moving into the McNair stable.
Yep. All in Barbadian Breeze. And my best bet, Lady Hess, love the fact that she's going to be adding Lasix tonight. There's a look at our 4-pack. There's a look at Randy's 4-pack. We're going to leave you with the graphics here of these our resident handicappers and their selections tonight. Best of luck to everybody watching wagering. We're only moments away from the first of 11 on the Saturday night. Good luck.